What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. I just received a package from my friends over at the James brand. Some of you knife nuts out there may be familiar with them, and one of the knives may be my favorite folding knife of the year. I know it's pretty early in the year, but I want to bring you guys a video on it because I've been carrying it for the past 2 weeks or so, and it is sweet. Before we get into that knife though, they sent me two other blades that I want to show you guys. For someone who is really new into the EDC world, right here is the James brand Elko, and it's sort of like a little slip joint pen style blade. It does have a little bit of a pry bar on the end there. This would be cool to throw on your keychain or to just have in like a little bag that hangs out inside of your vehicle. Then another category that I'm also interested in, you guys have seen me talk about blades similar to this in the past. This is a utility blade known as the Palmer. It's a very sleek and clean design, and of course it is a razor blade in there. The mechanism that keeps this blade in place is pretty slick. So there's a push button on the back here. You push it down and forward and it locks into place, and then you push it down and back. If you want to replace a blade, you kind of push it halfway, almost 3/4 of the way, and you will notice there is a little red dash on the button. Now I can slide this blade completely out. Even their razor blades are branded with James on there. You can grab a fresh blade when this one dulls out and then simply slide this back into place. Make sure you can move that button and then you're good to go. So pretty sleek design on a little utility knife. But now for the blade that has really piqued my interest. I gotta give you guys a little bit of an unboxing experience because their packaging is very, very nice. It's got a little tab on the front that pops open. You got a really nice presentation of this new blade. So the knife that has really piqued my interest is right here, the James brand Kline. The Kline is a robust American-made folding knife named after the Kline arrowhead found in Pennsylvania's Delaware River Valley, not far from where I grew up actually. It features MagnaCut, a new ultra-durable, corrosion-resistant 3.5-inch stainless steel blade, which runs on phosphor bronze washers, making it a true USA-made super steel pocket knife. The Kline has a removable and reversible deep carry pocket clip, the James brand slide lock locking mechanism, full liner construction, and it is designed for ambidextrous use. With an overall length of 7.9 inches, this is a fairly large EDC knife. However, with the use of black micarta scales, a titanium pocket clip, and a hollow ground blade, the weight is surprisingly light, coming in at just 4 ounces. With grippy scales, high quality materials throughout, and its larger size, the Kline is a super versatile EDC folder that's ready for pretty much anything. Now there were quite a few things that drew me to the Kline, and it's kind of a combination of everything. The proportions, the blade shape, the material choices, everything about this knife is kind of right in line with what I like in a folding knife, and just look at that. When I think of a pocket knife, this is exactly what I think about. The blade shape, the handle proportions, everything about this knife is very knifey, which is not a good way to describe it, I understand that. But let's jump into a top-down view so I can show you some comparisons with other knives. You can get an idea for the size of it, and a lot of the knives that compare to this Kline are kind of in my top choice for pocket knives overall. So let's take a closer look. Alright, time for the close-up. There are so many good features on this knife, and overall it's just very slim and clean. There's not much to it. It doesn't look super fancy, and that is kind of right up my alley. There we can check out the centering on here. Super nice, clean finish. Pretty good thickness on that blade as well. Here's a close-up look at the titanium pocket clip, which is reversible to the other side. It is tip-up carry, which is my preferred way to carry. And you can remove that entirely if you choose, because there is a lanyard hole here. You could run it with just the screws in there. The hardware on here up by the pivot is just completely flush. Really, really nice fit and finish to the Kline. And of course it does have their slide lock locking mechanism. So if we utilize those big beefy thumb studs on there, whether you're right or left-handed, you can flick that thing out. Look at that thing. I mean, it's just a really, really good looking knife. On the hollow ground MagnaCut blade, you can see that this entire thing is stamped there, USA made. That is big for a lot of knife owners out there. MagnaCut steel, and then a date code 22.03. Now there is a little bit of jimping on the back of the blade here. I would not say it is aggressive in the slightest. If anything, I think it could be a little bit more aggressive. However, the jimping found back here on like the internal liners back by the handle, this is a little more grippy than the blade itself. So I would definitely put this in the workhorse category of a really big utilitarian style EDC knife. Now, one of the things that I really love about this knife are the proportions and the blade shape, the way it fits inside of the handle. I love blades like this that follow the straight back until it gets almost out to the tip where the belly then really sweeps up. When the belly starts back here from the heel of the knife and then sort of makes its way up to the tip, I'm not a big fan of that because you're getting more steel out of a blade shape like this, and of course when you sharpen it, you're going to be able to sharpen this thing a lot more. It's weird for me saying this because of course I've been carrying a lot of fixed blades lately, but I really enjoy this knife, and it's been in my pocket for the past like 2 weeks now, I believe. Now, one of the reasons I like this knife so much is because it's very comparable to a lot of my other favorite knives, some knives that I recommend pretty dang highly here on the channel. In no particular order, let's start with the ProTech Mordax. This is a drop collaboration knife, and the action on this thing is super smooth. ProTech style button on there, flipper design, and that is very similar in both blade shape and size. Another knife that is very difficult to beat, of course, we have the Chris Reeves Sebenza. This is the 31 micarta. A little bit different on the blade shape there. This is a knife that I have carried quite a lot. Absolutely love Chris Reeves knives, and if you're spending a lot of money on a pocket knife, you can't go wrong with a blade from them. And then moving on to something that more people have probably had their hands on. Right here I have a super old Benchmade Griptilian. Carry this knife a lot. You can tell it's kind of beat up and there's still tape gunk on there. Very similar in size in like this category, which I consider a large EDC folding knife. At the time that this knife came out, there weren't a whole lot of options like the other things that you see here, but this one was like really high quality for the time. These now definitely take the cake over the Benchmade Griptilian, but still a great knife. Also along those same lines, however, just a little bit bigger, the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. This thing is always at the top of my knife recommendations. I would say like top 5 knives that you should own. This is probably going to be in that list all the time. Full flat grind, S30V, a little outdated when we're talking about materials like this now, so G10 to micarta, that S30V versus now the MagnaCut steel. This steel is great. Actually, the only other knife that I've really tested out would be this right here, the Overland knife from TJ Schwartz. I absolutely love this thing. This is pretty much my truck knife, and I gotta bring you guys a video on this one too at some point, but same blade materials on there, and I beat the crap out of this thing, and it holds up very nicely. And then last but not least, this one, which has been discontinued a long time ago. Absolutely love this knife. I've shown it on my channel quite a lot. This is the ZT0804CF. Not sure why they did not bring this back yet, but they should. You can see this one is also stamped USA made. Carbon fiber, titanium, really cool blade shape. This one is a little bit bigger than the Kline, but still great option. And I think this general size of pocket knife is probably my favorite for a folding knife. I've carried all of these, and I still do occasionally. I'll just kind of like throw them into the rotation. This one now being the newest, I just really enjoy the proportions, the material choices, the blade shape, everything about this knife. This thing is great for one-handed opening and closing. Still needs to break in a little bit, but yeah, killer knife design, the Kline, coming from the James brand. So that's all that I had for what I'm considering the perfect EDC knife so far this year anyway. Again, I know it's super early, but this just crosses off so many boxes for me, and I am a huge fan of it. I've never owned one of their knives before, but after seeing this thing and seeing all of the other knives that they're releasing, I'm gonna keep my eye on the James brand because this thing is super sick. If you guys have any questions on the James brand Kline, let me know in the comments down below. I'll try to answer anything as best as possible. And let me know if you guys enjoy these knife reviews because, again, my collection just keeps growing and it's hard to pick just one. There's a lot of stuff here that I have to bring you guys videos on. So that is all that I had for today. If you guys are new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.